Ever get the feeling you're wading through a jungle of information just looking for a good story?
You know, like that feeling of almost being lost in the jungle yourself.
Exactly. And then, bam, you stumble on something really special.
You mean like a hidden temple?
Well, in our case, it's the origin story of a legend, the Phantom, the ghost who walks, and we'll be exploring it all through the story of the Phantom.
And what makes this deep dive so fascinating is its focus on the 21st Phantom, how he steps into this legacy.
Right. It's like we're getting a behind-the-mask glimpse at the making of a legend, but we have to remember, this isn't just about one guy in a mask.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is about generations of phantoms operating in the heart of the jungle. They're the ones who've created this image, this aura of an immortal guardian.
Like a force of nature, always there, always watching.
Precisely. It's what makes this character so intriguing. So our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to understand the man behind the mask.
And we've definitely accepted it. We want to know what motivates someone to embrace this life and what kind of effect it has on the people who live alongside this legend.
And how that legend influences their lives. It's fascinating.
And the story of the Phantom throws us right into the thick of it with the city doctor, Dr. Axel, who gets a crash course in Phantom Life 101.
Oh, I love this part. Just picture it. You're a city doctor, safe in your bed, and suddenly you're whisked away in the dead of night.
And not just by anyone. By Bandar Pygmies. Talk about a house call you'd never forget.
It kind of makes you wonder if you charged a premium for that visit. But jokes aside, it really highlights the lengths the Phantom will go to in order to protect his secret.
Oh, absolutely. This isn't just about one man disappearing into the jungle. It's about safeguarding an entire system that's been shrouded in mystery for centuries.
A system that has worked quite well, I'd say.
It certainly has. But back to poor Dr. Axel. His wild ride doesn't stop there. He goes on forced marches for days, swims through hidden waterfalls. It's a miracle he even survived to meet the Phantom.
It's like a trial by fire. Only after proving his resilience, let's call it, does Dr. Axel finally come face to face with the Phantom.
Or face to mask, I should say. And talk about a first impression. He finds the Phantom and his wife living in this luxurious, almost palatial hideout inside the Skull Cave.
The Phantom and his wife are certainly not roughing it in the jungle, but there's also this underlying current of danger. There's more to them than meets the eye.
Right. They are not your average jungle dwellers.
Not at all. And remember, Dr. Axel is there for a very important reason. He's been brought in to help deliver the 21st Phantom, a boy who will be named Kit.
It's a tense moment for everyone, even the seemingly unflappable Phantom, who understands the weight of continuing his lineage.
Absolutely. The Phantom knows that the future of the Phantom hinges on this birth.
And talk about a generous payment plan. For helping deliver the baby, Dr. Axel gets enough jewels to build the hospital of his dreams. It seems our mysterious Phantom is also quite the philanthropist.
And a shrewd one. By ensuring Dr. Axel's silence, the Phantom further cements his image as a force for good. This leaves the good doctor with a life-altering story, and the whispers of the Phantom's benevolence echoing even louder throughout the jungle.
And that brings us to our main man, young Kit. Can you imagine growing up in a skull cave, raised by a masked father?
That's not your average childhood. It's a fascinating mix of jungle upbringing and worldly education.
Right. On the one hand, he's got survival skills any jungle boy would envy. He's learning combat, how to track, how to handle animals like they're an extension of himself.
He's practically raised by them.
I know. He has lion cubs and tiger cubs as childhood playmates. And this is where that deep understanding of animals, that connection to the natural world, really takes root.
It really makes you wonder how his mother handled those playdates, though. Imagine having a tiger cub loose in the house.
And she was a city girl. It's wild. But speaking of wild, it wasn't all fun and games in the jungle. There's that chilling encounter with the mad tiger terrorizing the local villagers.
That's the thing about the Phantom. Even when facing a creature that dangerous, he always stresses that taking a life is a last resort.
It's a good lesson for young Kit, who's watching his every move. And it speaks volumes about the Phantom's character.
It really does. Here he is, this powerful figure, fully capable of taking down that tiger in an instant.
And he chooses compassion over fear, justice over vengeance. What an incredible lesson to teach a young, impressionable mind.
Absolutely. It really speaks to the kind of man the Phantom is, the kind of legacy he's working to uphold.
So we've got Kit growing up with this amazing mix of jungle life and world knowledge, but the story doesn't just focus on his childhood, right? The book gives us these incredible glimpses into the wonders of the Phantom's world.
It's true. We get to explore these hidden places, and they're not what you'd expect. Take the Skull Cave, for instance.
Yeah, it's not just some dusty old cave.
Not at all. This place is incredible. There's a treasure room, for starters, and it's overflowing with riches.
Like, we're talking mountains of gold, jewels, ancient artifacts, you name it, it's probably in there.
Exactly. It's like something straight out of an Indiana Jones movie.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. The Phantom isn't hoarding all this treasure. He's actually more like a guardian.
It's like he's protecting these artifacts, preserving them, almost like he's curated his own private museum right there in the heart of the jungle.
A museum full of priceless treasures. And speaking of priceless, there's this one room dedicated to what the Phantom calls his major treasures. Things with historical significance.
Oh, like what?
Well, one that stood out to me was the diamond cup of Alexander the Great.
Wow, that's not something you see every day. It really makes you think, doesn't it? We call him Alexander the Great. But he was also a ruthless conqueror responsible for a lot of destruction.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, what's the message here? Why would the Phantom keep something like that? Is he celebrating Alexander's conquests? Or is it more complicated than that?
It's like he's challenging us to look beyond the surface of history, to recognize the complexities of even our most celebrated figures.
Precisely. Even the great ones have their flaws. And the Phantom isn't afraid to confront those complexities.
It adds another layer to his character, don't you think? He's not just a protector of the innocent. He's also a guardian of history, encouraging us to examine the past and how we choose to remember it.
Absolutely. But the treasures aren't all hidden away in the Skull Cave. The Phantom has this deep connection to the jungle itself, and that's reflected in how he interacts with the natural world.
You mean like that whole legend of the Golden Beach of Kilauea?
Exactly. Newlyweds covered in golden sand, celebrating their love. It's breathtaking, really, like something out of a fairy tale.
It does sound magical, but I think it's also more than just a pretty picture. It speaks to the Phantom's connection to the land, the people, their traditions. He's not just living in the jungle, he's a part of it.
He's interwoven with it, and then there's the Garden of Eden, this hidden island where the Phantom keeps all sorts of animals. And I mean all sorts, even natural enemies.
Wait, seriously, like lions and zebras living together?
It's true. He somehow managed to create this sanctuary where predators and prey coexist peacefully.
How is that even possible?
Honestly, it's probably that deep understanding of animals, their instincts and needs. He's not just an animal lover, he's an expert, able to maintain this incredible balance.
It's like he created his own little utopia, a glimpse of what the world could be like if we could all just get along.
It makes you wonder what else he's capable of.
Right. This isn't just about brute force. It's about something deeper, a connection that goes beyond species. It makes you realize there's so much more to this character than meets the eye.
And that's where the Chronicles come in. Have you gotten to those yet?
Oh, yeah. Those were fascinating. For those who haven't gotten there yet, the Chronicles are the recorded histories of all the previous Phantoms.
It's like having this epic family photo album filled with stories of adventure, intrigue. Talk about pressure. Can you imagine growing up knowing you're expected to live up to all that?
I can't even imagine. Talk about pressure. You're not just living your life, you're living up to this legacy of legendary heroes.
And what a diverse group of heroes they were. Each Phantom faced unique challenges and found his own way to uphold the legacy. Take the sixth Phantom, for instance.
The one who fell in love with the Queen. Yeah, that was quite the story.
It just goes to show that even the Phantom, with all his mystery and brooding, is capable of love, heartbreak. He's not just a symbol, he's human.
Right. Even under the mask, there's a beating heart. He's not just going through the motions of being a hero. He has real feelings, real connections. Though, how he managed to balance a royal romance with, saving the world.
Right, that's one for the relationship advice column.
Exactly. And then you have the seventh Phantom, a master diplomat who befriends an emperor and uses his influence to prevent a war.
Now, that's what I call thinking outside the box. It really shows how adaptable the Phantom's legacy is. Each generation faces new challenges, and each Phantom finds his own unique way of rising to the occasion. It's not just about following a set of rules. It's about using your strengths to fight for what's right.
And that brings us to a pivotal moment in young Kit's life, his formal training as the Phantom. He's only around 12 years old when he takes a solemn oath.
An oath to uphold justice and honor the legacy. And talk about intense.
It's not your typical coming-of-age ceremony.
Not at all. He swears his oath on the skull of the very man who murdered the first Phantom's father, Talk about a heavy reminder of the sacrifices made in the name of justice. You can practically feel the weight of history pressing down on his shoulders.
And the rings, those iconic phantom rings, those are more than just a fashion statement.
Oh, absolutely. Those rings are emblems of authority, a visible link to an unbroken chain of heroes stretching back generations.
And then there's the mask, the ultimate symbol of the phantom.
The mask, the source of so much mystery. It's what fuels the myth of his immortality.
Yeah.
People don't see him age. They don't know who's under there. He becomes this almost mythical force, always there, always watching.
It's amazing how a simple mask can have such power, right?
It's more than just a disguise. It represents the burden of secrecy, the sacrifice of a normal life, all in service of something greater. And our young Kit is now being groomed to carry that burden, to become this symbol.
It makes you wonder, though, at what cost, right? What does he have to give up? What does he have to become? It's a lot to ask of anyone, especially someone so young. But it seems like destiny has other plans for Kit, because word soon arrives that his father's health is failing. He's called back to the deep woods.
And it's a very different homecoming this time around.
Oh, absolutely. The tone shifts. There's a heaviness in the air, a sense of foreboding.
Like even the jungle itself senses that something big is about to happen.
The Phantom's legacy is in jeopardy, and everyone, including Kit, is about to discover what that really means. It's almost like a changing of the guard, you know? The old order making way for the new.
And you can really sense the weight of the moment, this passing of the torch. It's a reminder that even legends aren't immune to the passage of time. Even the seemingly immortal phantom is subject to the realities of aging and eventually death.
The book does a great job of capturing the emotional impact of it all. It's not this heroic, larger-than-life ending. It feels more real somehow, more human.
Exactly. It's a slow decline, a gradual surrender to mortality, really highlighting that contrast between the image of the phantom, this ageless, timeless symbol,
Yeah.
and the man behind the mask.
You really feel for Kit during all of this. He's dealing with so much returning home, confronting his father's mortality, and knowing that he's going to have to step into this role, this legacy, that he's only just beginning to grasp.
It's a heavy burden for anyone to carry, let alone someone so young.
And yet, that's exactly what he does. The death of the 20th Phantom is truly the end of an era. But it also marks the beginning of something new, doesn't it?
It does. Kit takes his place as the 21st Phantom, vowing to honor the legacy, to continue the fight. It's what his father would have wanted. It's what the jungle needs. But it really makes you wonder, what kind of phantom will he be?
That's the big question, isn't it? He's had this unique upbringing, a blend of jungle wisdom and worldliness. Will he rule exactly as his father did? Or will he forge his own path?
That's the challenge of legacy, isn't it? Finding that balance between honoring the past and embracing the future. He's got the weight of all those phantoms who came before him on his shoulders, but he's also his own man, with his own sense of justice, his own way of seeing the world.
It makes you think about those chronicles we talked about, all those different phantoms, each with their own strengths, their own approach to upholding the legacy. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Exactly. And that's what's so exciting about Kit's story. We get to see him grapple with these questions, these challenges. How will he make his mark as the phantom? What will his legacy be? We're left to imagine the possibilities.
It's the beauty of a good origin story, really. It doesn't just give us answers, it sparks new questions. It makes us want to keep exploring, keep digging deeper.
It's why the phantom story continues to resonate, generation after generation, don't you think? He's this symbol of hope, of justice. But he's also a mirror, in a way, reflecting our own struggles with duty, with identity, with the desire to leave the world a better place than we found it.
We all wear masks, in a sense, right? We have the faces we show the world and the inner selves, wrestling with our own challenges, our own sense of purpose. And sometimes, like the Phantom, we have to decide who we want to be, what we're willing to fight for.
That's what makes stories like this so powerful. They remind us that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves, that our choices have the power to shape the world around us.
It's been quite a journey, exploring the Phantom's world, delving into the origins of this legend. We've seen the man behind the mask, the sacrifices he's made, the legacy he fights to uphold.
We've uncovered hidden treasures, explored a jungle paradise, and learned about the generations of heroes who came before. It's been quite the deep dive.
It certainly has. And if you're anything like me, you'll be thinking about all of this long after this episode is over. But before we go, I have to ask, what will you carry with you from the Phantom's world? What resonated with you the most? Until next time, keep exploring those dusty corners, and who knows what legends you might uncover.